Unit 1. Continual. People and jobs. Enough and to. Enough is used after adjectives and adverbs to indicate a positive implication. For example, when we say he is clever enough to become a doctor, this means that he is very clever and he can become a doctor. He ran quickly enough to catch the bus. This means that he ran quickly and he caught the bus. We can use enough before nouns. For example, when we say he earns enough money to afford a house in the suburbs, this means that he earns enough money and he can buy a house in the suburbs. To is used before adjectives and adverbs to indicate a negative implication. Like when we say the food is too salty for us to eat. This means that the food is very salty and we can't eat it. They arrived too late to find any free seats, which means that they arrived so late that they couldn't find any free seats. We can use to before many or much to express the opposite meaning of enough plus noun. For example, when we say there are too many students in the class, the construction workers are making too much noise. Note, many is used with countable nouns, like books, chairs, etc., whereas much is used with uncountable nouns, like sugar, noise, etc. Unit 2. Past tenses. The past simple. The past simple is used for past actions which happen one immediately after the other. For example, when we say she stood up, went up to her, and grabbed her wrists. We use the past simple for completed actions or events which happen at a stated time in the past. For example, I went to the cinema last night. When? Last night. We can use the past simple for past habits or states. When I say my grandfather always wore a hat. Also, my grandfather always used to wear a hat. We can use the past simple for complete actions connected to the present with a stated or implied time reference. When I say Beethoven created wonderful classical pieces, we know when Beethoven lived. The time expressions used with the past simple: yesterday, last week, last month, how long ago, then, just, now, when, in 1991, etc. But we use the past continuous tense, was or were plus verb plus ing, for actions in the middle of a happening at a stated past time. When I say she was flying to Paris this time last Monday. For a past action in progress interrupted by another past action. When I say I was watching television when my mother came home, the longer action is in the past continuous. The shorter action is in the past simple. We can also use the past continuous for two or more simultaneous past actions of certain duration. I was reading while my brother was listening to music. Background description to events in a strong description. When I say as he was walking through the woods, the birds were singing and the sun was shining brightly. The time expressions used with the past continuous include while, when, as, at that moment. Use the to equal would. We can use the word use the to plus infinitive to talk about past habits or states. When I say Stacy used to live in Brighton. Did you used to suck your thumb when you were a baby? Would plus infinitive expresses past repeated actions and routines. Every day, Peter would wake up early, take a shower, and set out for work. The past perfect tense is used for a past action which occurred before another action or before a stated past time. When I say she had typed all the letters by 10 o'clock. Or complete past actions which had visible results in the past. When I say she was crying because she had lost her job. We can also use the past perfect, which is the past equivalent of the present perfect. When I say he is tired, he has painted the room. He was tired, he had painted the room. Time expressions used with the past perfect for, since, already, after, just, never, yet, before, by the time, etc. But when it comes to the past perfect continuous, it is used for actions continuing over a period up to a specific time in the past. When I say he had been working in Brussels for 3 years before he moved to London. He was working in Brussels, then he moved to London and started working there. For past actions of certain duration, which had visible results in the past. Her feet were swollen because she had been walking all morning. The past perfect continuous is the past equivalent of the present perfect continuous. When I say I am tired, I have been gardening all afternoon. I was tired, I had been gardening all afternoon. The time expressions used with the past perfect continuous is for, since. When it comes to the present perfect, it is used for recently completed actions. When I say my father has finished painting the house, or complete past actions connected to the present with a stated or unstated time reference. I have worked all day and I'm tired. For personal experiences or changes which have happened. For example, Sally has gained some weight recently. The past perfect continuous is used for actions started in the past and continuing up to the present. I have been studying for the math test for 3 hours. This means that I started studying for the math test 3 hours ago and I'm still doing that. For the past actions of certain duration having visible results or effects in the present. When I say she has been lying in the sun and now she has sunburn, expressing anger, irritation, annoyance, explanation, or criticism. For example, he has been playing that horrible music all day long. For the time expressions used with the present perfect and the present perfect continuous, just, ever, never, already, yet, always, how long, so far, recently, since, for, today, this week, this month, etc. Note how the following words are used. Ago, back in time from now, is used with the past simple. Tom left an hour ago. Before, back in time from then. He told me that Tom had left an hour before. It can also be used with the present or past tense forms to point out that an action preceded another. When I say he had been traveling a lot before he decided to settle down in Rome. Still is used in statements and questions after the auxiliary verb or before the main verb. For example, he can still ride a bicycle. He still lives in the same flat. Still comes before the auxiliary verb in negations. He still can't find a solution to his problem. Already is used with the present perfect tenses in mid and the position in statements and questions. He had already left when Anne came. Have you finished already? Yet is used with the perfect tenses in negative sentences after a contracted auxiliary verb or at the end of the sentence. He hasn't yet called on. He hasn't called us yet. It can also be used at the end of questions. Has he called yet? Relatives. Relative pronouns, relative adverbs. Who, that, relative pronoun, is used for people. For example, the girl who is wearing the red dress is my best friend. Whose is a relative pronoun and is used for people and things to show possession. For example, the lady whose dog bit me lives next door. Whom or that relative pronoun and it is used for people as the object of the verb of the relative clause. For example, the boy whom you met at my party is my cousin. Which relative pronoun is used for things The car which is parked in front of the building is mine. Where relative adverb is used to talk about the places. For example, the resort where we spent our summer holiday was wonderful. Whom, which, whose can be used in expressions of quantity with of, like some of, many of, etc. For example, she has got three brothers, two of whom are older than her. We don't normally use prepositions before relative pronouns. The university at which she is studying is well known. The university which she is studying at is well known. The university she is studying at is well known. Defining and non-defining relative clauses. A defining relative clause gives necessary information and is essential to the meaning of the main clause. It is not put between commas. People who hunt illegally should be sent to prison. Whereas a non-defining relative clause gives extra information which is not essential to the meaning of the main clause, it is put between commas. For example, Anne, who is my best friend, got married last week.